Hi, in this video I will show you how to create animations in 3D viral reel style, like the one you can see on screen right now, taken straight from Houston Cold video. All assets and project file in the description, let's dive in. And by the way, I just dropped my viral 3D reels editing pack and it's a game changer. Here's what you get for just $10 for this week only. A complete few hours course on how to create viral 3D reels, way more in depth than anything on YouTube. All the assets you need, 5 fully edited reels, project files, presets and must-have plugins, and also direct access to me, ask anything anytime. This offer is only valid for 7 days, after that the price doubles to $20. So grab it while it's not too late. Alright, let's get back to the video. Okay guys, so let's start with this tutorial. Of course, firstly we need to create a composition. Let's name that part 1. Let's go with TikTok Reels, resolution, frame rate to 30, duration to 10 seconds. It's enough. Let's click OK. I'm going to change my workspace to short form. So I will have my preview here on the right side of my workspace. So I actually can have a lot bigger preview. So let's start creating our animation. Firstly, we need to add this mountain here on which our character are going to stand, and in the background below our character is going to have placed this text identify the result. Okay, so let's start creating this composition from creating this mountain. It's actually going to be very easy. Firstly, I'm going to click here, so thanks that we are not going to have black screen but transparent. So let's click here right now to create mountain. To pen tool you can also click G on your keyboard, go to fill, let's have here black stroke, let's go here and click none. Okay, and now just create this mountain. Let's add random edges right here, something like that. Okay, and like you can see here, we have like this red shadow, red edges for our mountain. It's because actually this mountain is black and our background is black, so we need to have edges here to actually see these edges, actually see that there is any mountain. So to do that, I'm going to use bevel alpha effect. I'm going to change light color to red. I'm going to change light intensity to 1, then edge thickness to 3.7, something around that, and light angle to 0. Okay, so as you can see, thanks that we have really nice edges here. Also, actually, this mountain should be a little in different place. It should be probably like there, so a little more on top of screen. Okay, something like that. Right now let's add this character that is standing on the screen. I found that on Google. Okay, let's upload that straight on our timeline. Unfortunately, this image is not transparent, it's not PNG transparent, it's JPG, so we have that white background, which of course we don't want to have. If we have really simple colors like black and white, and we want to remove black or white backgrounds, it's really easy to do, and we can just use one effect which is named extract, exactly this one. Okay, and now we have to check here invert, click here. Okay, perfect. And now let's go to black point and let's say put here 100. Okay, perfect. Our background is perfectly removed. Now of course we can already make this to objects 3D, and let's make this a little smaller, and let's place that, I don't know, right there. I think it can be a little smaller. Let's go with 55, maybe something like this. Also, when we will uncheck that, we can see that we actually have like this white edges still. To remove that completely, we need to add here fill effect, set that to black. Okay, perfect. And let's also add here that bevel alpha effect from here. Okay, we can only change light angle to -60, so basic option. Okay, perfect. Let's also move this layer below shape layer 1. Okay, like that. Okay, almost last thing for this composition is that text identify the results. Okay, so let's create that text. Of course, we need to create new text layer. Font which we are going to use is Compacta, so let's change here font to Compacta BT, and let's write here identify the results. Okay, right now let's select the results text. Let's go here, let's make it smaller so it will be in the size of this one word identify, so it's going to look clean and it's good for this composition. Okay, right now still select the results and go here, and let's move the results text closer to identify text. Okay, perfect. Now let's select identify the result text, and let's move that below everything, and let's also move that, I don't know, let's say here. Let's also go to rotation. Also, by the way, let's make this text already 3D, and right now let's go to the rotation and let's set that to -2. Okay, so like that. You can make that a little bigger here, a little bigger. Okay, something like that should be perfect. Right now the last element here is going to be this fractal background. As you can see, oh, here we see that very good. Okay, so it's not going to be very easy, but let's try to do that. Also, after that we have this particle world effect here. These particles, I actually did that by using effect in After Effects. It's not overlay, but first let's make this background. Okay, so first thing in creating that background is going to be to create new solid. Let's name that background. Let's move that below everything. Let's make that 3D. Okay, and we are going to start from adding here fractal noise effect. It's this one, and here we are going to create our texture by using this effect. And fractal type, let's change to dynamic progressive, noise type to spline, contrast to 150, bright to -40, something like this, complexity to 8 maybe. Now let's go to transform here and let's uncheck uniform scaling, and right now we can change our scale width and scale high. So let's do that. For scale width let's set 550, and for scale high let's leave that with 100. Okay, like this. Right now also let's go to mode and let's change that to screen for this. Okay, like that. Okay, and after changing mode to screen, let's add here turbulence displace effect, because actually our texture on background also have turbulence effect. If you will see that, you see you have like this waves effect, something like this. Okay, so to create that, let's add here turbulence displace effect also. Amount to like 85, size to like 125, something like this. Complexity to 1.3 maybe. So let's make it a little more complex. And right now let's keyframe evolution. So by changing evolution, you see like we have actually movement on this turbulence effect. So you can do that in two ways. You can just keyframe evolution like me right now. Let's go to 5060s like this. Or you can also use here expression. So just write here a script for that code, but we'll just keyframe that. Right now let's also add here tint effect, because our background is red, and let's change map white to this type of red. Perfect. Now also we need to make this a little darker, a little less visible. To do that, I'm going to use curves effect, and graph for curves should be something like this time. Okay, perfect. Right now it looks exactly how it should. Last thing is going to be these particles that are going from the top of screen, and we can move to final touches after that for first part, because after that we have this animation, this, so a lot of movement here. Also, actually for this animation we need to add movement as well, so let's do all of these things. Let's start from adding here particles effect. So to do that, let's add here other solid, let's name that particles. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to use cc particle word effect. So actually it's free, you can add it here even if you don't have any plugins. Okay, perfect. Now let's go to beer freight, and here we need to change that to 0.2. Let's go to producer. Okay, and right there need to change something radius, this radius to like 1.4. okay, x radius to like 0.6. everything is here good. So just place in which our cc particles are going to be creating is a lot bigger. Like right now particles are going to create in every place in this area, not only like here for example in the middle. So now go to physics, and actually this physics is good for us. We're not going to change anything here, but here gravity vector, let's change gravity z to -1. So by that we are going to just change gravity here. And particles here, very important thing, let's change line to faded sphere, because right now we have lines like this, but we want to have just faded spheres right there. Okay, perfect. Also, let's go to birth to death, and let's change that to origin constant, so it's going to be just white. And also birth size is going to be 0, so where is birth of this faded sphere is going to be smaller. You see, like we have just scale effect. You see, it's not so big from the start. It's making it bigger and bigger and bigger when times is going up. Okay, and by that it's ready. Looks like that. Very nice effect. Okay, right now let's actually create this two movements. So we have this out zoom with zero rotation and this bigger out zoom, and also this very easy text animation for our identify the results text. So let's start from creating movements. So of course we need to create new camera and link new null to this camera. Okay, perfect. And now let's create first keyframe for position at start, and second keyframe probably somewhere here. Okay, perfect. Let's go to first keyframe and let's change position to probably something like this. Okay, perfect. Now go to second keyframe and let's change that to something like this. So it's not going to be in the final position, it's going to be a little more zoomed in, so we can add our final zoom out in our second movement. Okay, like that. In the terms of graph, it's going to be this simple graph, speed graph. Okay, it looks perfect. Now let's go to rotation and let's create keyframe for the rotation at start, and second keyframe somewhere here for example, and let's go to first keyframe for the rotation and let's change to that to -20. And last thing for this, as you can see here, our background is ending, so I'm just going to scale up this, okay, like that. Perfect. And also we can add here new solid, let's name that background, let's make that also black, and let's put that below everything. Okay, perfect. Now let's add graph for this rotation. Also, of course it's going to be value graph this time, and here let's move this point max on the left and this max on the left also, and it should be something here on 15 there. Okay, now let's go with our second movement, so our final zoom. Let's link another null to this null. Okay, let's go to position, let's create first keyframe right here, second keyframe right there, perfect. And now let's go to second keyframe and let's do this final zoom out. Okay, exactly like this. Right now let's go to graph editor, let's go to speed graph and let's do this type of graph with the peak somewhere here. So a little few frames before first second mark, and it should be in this shape. Okay, perfect. Let's see how it looks like. Now let's also add our text animation for identify the results, and it should start appearing exactly where is peak of this graph, so right there. So to create that text animation, let's select identify the results layer. Let's add here text evo. We are going to use a text evo. So click here to add text evo and then click here to change paste on mode to words. Perfect. So let's start our animation from here. So from the time where is peak of our second movement. Okay, and delay we want to change to 5. It should be a little faster. Okay, and in transform just change opacity and it's going to be that. Okay, so for now it looks like this. Perfect. Now we are going to add all of these effects. So let's start from first effect, but firstly let's create adjacent layer and let's add here deep glow, of course. Deep glow 1 or 2. Let's go with radius to 500, so let's leave that how it is for deep glow 1 and exposure to 0.3. Okay, then let's add another adjacent layer, and on our second adjacent layer let's add CC vignette effect and amount to 200 from 100. Okay, then let's use something from Shafira called film damage, and let's leave that with basic settings on. Okay, another adjacent layer with posterize time effect, and let's set that to 20, so it's going to be in a little lower FPS. Okay, and last effect, which is actually going to be below posterize time, and I'm going to add here chromatic aberration effect, but by using 3 CC effects. First, let's add here CC radial blur. Let's set amount to 5 and quality to 30. And from scratch, let's change that to straight zoom. Okay, perfect. And now CC lens effects. For CC lens effects, let's set size to 190 and conservangage, I don't know if I spelled that right, to 25. Okay, and with that, this first part of animation is ready. It looks exactly same as you can see. Now let's see how it looks like with movement. Okay, as you can see, this first part of our animation is really smooth and really good, but it's not everything, because we actually have a lot of more work to do. So let's go with this part of animation. So our screen is going to change into this sphere, ball sphere, something like this. Then it's going to cut in 2 parts, and in the middle of these 2 parts we have text in your life. Okay, so actually let's firstly do that, then this rotation and this rectangle. So firstly, of course, we will have to select all of these elements here, and let's click pre-compose here, part 1. Okay, perfect. Now we are going to actually use our CC lens effect, which we was using like 1 minute ago, this one, and let's leave convergence to 100, but we are going to, of course, keyframe our size. First keyframe we want to have like here probably, second keyframe after 1 second like there. Okay, and for first keyframe, let's set that to the maximum amount, 500, and for second keyframe, let's set that to exactly like 20 probably, or 25 is better. Yeah, okay, perfect. Now let's also make graph for this movement. Our graph probably should be something like this. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, actually pretty smooth. Yeah, let's leave that like this. Now let's pre-compose that right now, because we need to cut this into pieces. Okay, so firstly let's cut this pre-compose probably somewhere here. I will explain why we do that later. Let's cut that for now. Okay, perfect. And now I'm going to select second part of cut pre-compose, and I'm going to go to pen tool here, and I'm going to mask this exactly like that. Okay, perfect, like that. Now I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to go to duplicated pre-compose. I'm going to go to mask and change mask 1 from add to subtract like this. And why I cut this, it's because, as you can see, this mask is not perfect. We see here like edges of our mask, and thanks that we don't see that on our all animation in the early part of this. We see that only where we want to see that. Okay, and right now let's add here position movement. Let's go to first pre-compose, and actually we can already make all of this 3D. Now go to position. Let's make first keyframe right here, and second keyframe probably somewhere there. Okay, now let's go to our second keyframe, and let's change here position to something like that. Let's also make graph for this. Go to speed graph, and graph should be something like that. Now let's copy these keyframes and let's copy that there, but let's change here position for this to the reversed position of our first element. Okay, it should be exactly in front of first element. Okay, perfect, looks like this. Yeah, this movement is actually really smooth, but also we want to have posterize time. We can already add that posterize time to 20. Okay, it's going to be even smoother right now. Now what we want to add is this in your life text. So as animation there is the same, I'm going to copy this identify the results text from our first part of animation, and I'm going to pass this here, but rotation to 0 of course, and actually font is going to be Montserrat semi-bold. Let's write in your life. Let's make that smaller too. Let's place that in the middle of these two pieces, like there. Let's make that a little smaller maybe, something like this. And also text in should be a little thinner. So I'm going to just change for in font from Montserrat semi-bold to Montserrat thin. Actually, this one. Okay, like that. Okay, and our animation for that should start probably here, a little before our movement for these two pieces are going to start. And of course we need to move in your life layer below everything. Okay, it looks really good. Maybe animation can start a little later, or actually delay can be like 8 maybe, so it can start a little earlier. That might. Okay. Yeah, perfect. It looks perfect, just perfect for me. Now, what we want to have is actually this zoom, like right there. And peak of the zoom is going to be in the exact same place where is peak for this movement of pieces. So exactly here. Let's create new camera for that, and let's already link new node to this camera. Then let's go to position. Okay, and let's make this two keyframes. First keyframe somewhere here, second probably a little before this right there. Let's also make this a little smaller, And now let's zoom in that like this. Now let's go to bit graph for these two keyframes for zoom, and let's make very easy graph with peak exactly on the hour mark. Okay, and right now this zoom is actually ready. Let's also make a little smaller this text. I don't know, let's change that to 22 from 25. Okay, and now what we want to add is this rotation. So we have one rotation and then second rotation, and in the meantime, in our live text is going to change to info product text with this rectangle. Also, I feel that these two pieces are a little too far of our text. I'm going to change that. Okay, it's going to be a little closer to in our live text like that probably. Okay, let's do these two rotations. First, let's link new null to this first null. Okay, let's go to rotation. Let's make first keyframe for the rotation, probably somewhere here, and second keyframe probably somewhere there. Okay, perfect. And let's go to second keyframe and let's change that to minus 100. Okay, perfect. Now let's make graph for this. It should be value graph, of course, and it should be something like that. Peak should be somewhere here. Okay, it looks good. Now let's create two positions keyframes in the exact same places where our two rotations keyframes are located, and let's make zoom, not very huge zoom, something like this. And let's go here, let's go to speed graph. Okay, speed graph should look like this. It's speed graph for the rotation and it should look like this with peak right there. Okay, I showed you that, guys, because actually for position we are going to use speed graph, so we had really nice visualization there for speed graph. Okay, it looks nice. Let's finish that by adding another null to this null. Okay, perfect. And now let's go to the rotation, go to rotation, then the rotation is exactly there. Let's create first keyframe like there, second keyframe probably here, and for second keyframe let's change that to minus 90. Okay, now let's create graph for that. Our peak should be in the middle of first and second keyframe, so I don't know, probably there. Now of course let's create two position keyframes in exact same places as our two rotation keyframes, so actually we are doing the exact same thing. Okay, now check exact place of peak exactly there. Let's go to the rotation, let's go to position, sorry, and also here we need to add zoom. Okay, a little bigger zoom, probably something like this, maybe even more. Okay, like that. Okay, let's check peak. Here it should be. Let's go to position and let's create exact same thing with peak in the exact same place. Okay, perfect. Right now, as you can see, in the peak of our first rotation we have two things. Firstly, our rectangle is appearing and we have this flicker effect on this rectangle, and our in your live text is disappearing. Also, these pieces are changing to this gray color. Okay, let's do all of these things. Firstly, let's create sphere. Let's actually use rounded rectangle tool. Let's create that rectangle. Let's change fill to white, stroke to none. Okay, perfect. Let's make this 3D. Let's set that below adjacent layer with our posterized time effect. And now let's make this smaller. Also, let's actually put that below two pieces. Okay, it should be probably in this size. It should be actually in the middle of screen, somewhere there. Okay, and it's going to appear in the peak of first rotation, as I said. So there, and exact in this place, this will appear, and this text will disappear. Boom, exactly like that. You see that? Okay. Now, of course, let's add flicker effect to our rectangle from Shafir. This flicker is actually just going to make this transition from text to this rectangle a little smoother. Okay, so first keyframe for amplitude, because it's only thing which is going to have keyframes, is going to be like few frames after start. So we are going to have maximum strange amplitude for first few frames, and then it's going to be smaller and smaller. Shouldn't be very long like that probably. And at the end, of course, 0, but at start amplitude should be something like 1.8, for example. Okay, also let's add deep glow for this too. Deep glow should be on 0.1 probably, because it's white, it's bright already. Okay, and by the way, this in your text should be with deep glow on as well, but this is red, so we can add here 0.3. Okay, let's check how it looks like. Okay, yeah, it looks incredible. Now, last thing guys, this info product text. Let's create that. Actually, I'm going to again copy that from here, from our identify the results text. Let's copy that. Okay, perfect. Let's make this smaller. Okay, let's go to the end of all movements, and let's change rotation here for that as well. So X rotation probably, oh no, Z rotation we have to change, yeah. And it should be in the same rotation as this. Okay, and in the middle of this, something like that, yeah. Now let's change text to info product, and font will be the same, of course. Okay, maybe it can be a little smaller. Okay, like that. Right now, let's also add here the glow effects, and let's change to that exposure to 0.3, and color of this text should be like this dark gray probably, something like that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so actually we are done with everything. Let's pre-compose that maybe, and we can see our final result. Okay guys, and here is our final result of this hard work which we implemented in this animation in our video. As you can see, everything here is very smooth. All movements are very good constructed, and it's just incredible nice animation as always. Okay guys, so it's going to be end of this video. As always, all the assets and free project file are in description. Also, there is my first paid product, which is pack, in which I will show you how to create animations like that step by step, explaining every single part. So I really appreciate if you will buy this product. And that's all of this video. Bye bye guys.